first on YouTube. Anker Boom 2 Teardown, first on YouTube. Anker Motion X500 Teardown, first on YouTube. And a lot of various Hwachang-based speaker teardowns, all first on YouTube. Guess what? I'm first again. This is the Anker Soundcore Boom 2 Plus review with teardown. First on YouTube again. As a matter of fact, I'm so many steps ahead, I've lost count. I'm always the first. It's like nobody's taking things apart anymore and actually examining the build quality of the stuff that they buy. Well, I'm gonna help y'all out with this, because I will do a teardown on this. But first, let's do a sound check comparison. We're going to compare this, the current Boom 2 Plus, against the older Boom Plus, the last generation. We're going to see which one sounds better. Now, the current Boom 2 Plus right here, I can show you. And it came with the grill. Alright, so we'll start with the Anker Soundcore Boom 2 Plus, playing at 50%. And we're going to have the original Boom Plus match the Boom 2 Plus's volume.
Is it just a dream I'm having inside my fantasies? Come to me. You are in my thoughts. I never stray from the heart of you. Come to me. Can't be on the searching you, I wanna feel every part of this. Come to me, forever and a day, whatever feelings take hold of you, set me free.
Alright, so that marks the comparison. Well, the results, I think the Boom 2 Plus is a little bit boomier. It also plays a little deeper. The Anker Boom Plus does not have as much deep bass as the second generation. Alright, now let's move on. We're going to do a loudness test. We're going to crank both of them to the maximum. We're going to start from the Anker Boom 2 Plus. Both speakers playing at its default mode, meaning it's out the box, no personal EQ added to it. Okay, so maximum loudness comparison. I think the second generation Boom 2 also plays a bit louder than the first generation, and it retains more bass at maximum volume, which is quite important, especially when you're throwing a party. The first generation speaker drivers aren't as powerful as the second generation, so it doesn't get as loud. Well, there it is. That's our sound check. And then next, we're going to move on to the first on YouTube ever teardown. Alright, teardown time. Let's first pop the grill off. Look at that. 2 4-inch woofers and 2 3/4-inch tweeters. I already popped the top off and the 2 little passive radiator caps. And also getting popped off. And we're going to remove this top handle and then all these screws in the front. We can separate the front and the back, and then we'll reveal the amplifiers. Let's get to it. And we're in. First on YouTube, the insides of the Anker Boom 2 Plus Whoa, look at that. First thing I notice is the speaker drivers. These woofers are obviously JBL Boombox 2 drivers. Came most likely from the same factory, that is GGEC as far as I remember. But different from a regular boombox woofer, these had neodymium magnet. That is a big neodymium magnet. This is my thumb. This top section on my thumb is about 3 centimeters. That's about approximately, 1¼ inch. That's a huge neodymium magnet. These are 4 ohm drivers. I'm going to show you a regular JBL Boombox 2 woofer. Look at that. Wow. Wow. It has the same basket too. Very cool. Ugh. Ah. Can't pull it apart. And most likely, both of these drivers are made by the same Huachanbei factory. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Looking at the amplifiers, we can't really see any components very clearly just yet, but it looks as if this is indeed a bi-amped system. So totally high quality stuff, just like all the Anker products I've came across. Glue, yes, I see glue, but that is only to stop it from rattling, so not too much excess stuff on there. I have to see the circuit board clearer so that I can determine if they have a lot of flux remaining on the unit or not. So let's keep going deeper. Surprise, surprise, there's a ferrite ring in here. Very interesting. This is the first time I've seen any Bluetooth speaker that does that. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, it's a huge neodymium magnet. This is your driver. This is the tweeter that's completely glued there. Let's get to that circuit board. So here is our LED circuit boards. This is our amplifier. This and this are power segments. One most likely for the battery to power everything else other than the amplifier, because those are all 5 volts. The other is most likely to power the amplifier. I'm guessing the shielded one is to power the amplifier. See that's a plus on the build quality. They actually managed to shield the power supply so that it won't interfere with the amplifier. You won't hear those funky, goofy humming noise. Here's the amplifier. This is the Bluetooth chipset. Now, I don't know. I'm guessing it's just one of those actions. Most likely all-in-one with DSP built into it. As I don't see any additional standalone processors anywhere in this circuit board. This right here is most likely the charging manager, where, I think this supports fast charge. I might be wrong, but nonetheless, you'll still need a IC to control the charging. This one is probably a small preamp for the auxiliary in. That would be my guess. Can't focus. All right, let's take the heatsink off and see what's below it, what kind of amplifier we're using here. Unexpected Texas Instrument chips. I think this is most likely the first Anker speaker that I've taken apart with Texas Instrument chips. TPA 3126, a 100 watts per channel. A 50 watt per channel amplifier. Two powering the two. One of them powering the 2 woofers, the other powering the 2 tweeters. Very interesting. Well, that's about it for the teardown segment. I'd say this is quite an interesting journey, if you ask me. All right, so let's wrap it all up. First, the sound. Comparing to the first generation, I think the second generation does indeed sound better, but not everyone would like the sound signature of this second generation. The bass is a lot boomier, although it plays a little deeper, but due to there's way more upper bass, it doesn't sound as if it's playing deeper. Now, there is a personal equalizer. You can customize it, so you can kind of tone down the upper bass by a little bit. That's what I did, and I think this is generally a very enjoyable speaker. But keep in mind, it's $100 more than the first generation. Is it really worth that much money? $250? I don't know. I don't think it is, my personal opinion, but it's up to you to decide. All right, let's talk about the build quality. See, Anker never misses on their build quality. Every speaker I've came across they made had really great build quality. This one is no exception. It has great speaker drivers in there, full-on big neodymium magnet, in the teardown, and the circuit board is also very well designed. See, it surprised me that they even had like a shielding can for buck converter to the amplifier so that it doesn't interfere and make some humming noises and all that stuff like some other speakers. They didn't even give a crap about that. So yeah, it's the attention to details like these that really makes this speaker different. Another thing I want to point out is the exterior part. Looking at the grill, as I've shown you, and the entire speaker itself, the handles and everything, there's not a lot of rough edges. It's not going to scratch my hand up, unlike a lot of other Huashanbei Bluetooth speakers. I think this is a very well-built speaker unit. Now, the last part of the summary is engineering. How good of an engineering product this is. Well, there's a couple of things I want to talk about that I don't like so much. First of all, and it's also the most important part, is how difficult it is to take this thing apart. It's very hard to pop the grill off, and you are bound to see some marks here and there at the speaker. It's unavoidable, which is unfortunately Anker didn't, think of a design that doesn't require you to have such difficulty in removing the grill. Also, the fact that in order to get inside to the battery, to the circuit board, well, you need to completely take all the top part of the handle apart, and then you have these two little things on the side. You also have to pop them apart. And like I said, they are clamped in very tightly. It will leave marks, and it took me like an hour and a half just to get inside. If I want to replace the battery, it would take me just as much time, which is a pain in the ass. And keep in mind, you got to give it another 30 minutes to put it all back together. All right. Another thing I don't like about, in terms of engineering, is the passive radiator. It's not tuned deep enough, which is why it has so much upper bass. I think a good idea would be adding a couple more grams onto these passive radiators. Adding some more mass would reduce the F3, the resonance frequency of the entire system, which would most likely get rid of that annoying upper bass boom. And also, talking about passive radiators, it cannot stand on its side. Yep, it's not going to work. It's going to just keep knocking on this table. It's going to sound awful. So yeah, these are the couple things that I've realized when using the speaker that I think the engineers at Anker could do a little better at. However, generally, we're going to talk about the speaker. It's actually a really good speaker, pretty well engineered too. The crossover frequency is all done in correctly, the biamping and all that stuff. They did a really good job on it. So overall, I say this is a good speaker. What I recommend you to do is don't buy it at $250 because knowing Anker, they'll constantly give out deals and whatnot and discounts. So buy it when it's around $170 to $180, which is about the price of a Tribbett Stormbox Blast. And just truth be told, they probably came from the same company as well. So I think at that price point, it would be a very good buy. If it's more expensive than that, I'd say just wait a little. So there you have it. That's it. This video. Is it going to be the Huashanbei King? That's the final question, and probably the most important one. No, because it's got one of its a very big contender to defeat. It's got to be able to defeat this speaker. You can't see that. The Earfun U-Boom X. If it could beat this U-Boom X, then yeah, it would be the Huashanbei King. If it can't, it's hard to tell. Keep in mind, for $250, you could almost buy two U-Boom X's. So, stay tuned on that. There's a lot of other new reviews coming up. There you have it.